Hello everybody, and welcome to the Unofficial Tokucast second episode. I'm your host, Cheesymanfredo, aka Alfredo Morales, and with me today is whoever wants to introduce themselves first.
King Protus.
Hey, that's me. I'm King Protus, also known as Jim from the Joe Kakaka Jojolian podcast. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Cheesy.
Of course. You were in the first episode, so you should be in this one.
Dab.
Alright, who wants to go next? You go next, Kazoo.
I am Sporktown Heroine.
Heroine.
We're going in terms of cloud.
Heroine.
What do you do, Spork?
Halloween heroine.
I draw funny pictures.
She does.
She do be drawing the funny pictures.
Yeah.
And your turn, Kazoo.
Alright. Hi, I'm Kazoo. You could just call me Riley. I do draw funny stuff, but good luck finding it.
It's a fucking mystery. It's a fucking mystery with this guy.
Yeah.
So, Cheesy, why are we here?
Why are we here? Well, we're here today because we're the Unofficial Tokucast, and we're here to talk about another tokusatsu film. Today's is Jossy's 2014 Jossy's, and we're just here to. I think how we're gonna do it is I guess we'll all just take turns like saying like what we just thought of it, and then we'll just go like in depth. And I'll come out and say that I thought it was just okay.
Yeah, it was fine.
What?
I did want to bring up a few small facts about the director before we get into like plot stuff.
What?
Yeah,
Protus, what did you think about it?
I thought it was... I liked it, but there were certain things about it that, like, in my brain, I just couldn't... It couldn't be, like, a great movie to me. I know this sounds weird. It's hard to, like... I don't know. I really enjoyed... I think we need to talk about, like, the second half. Because the second half is, like,
the second
golden.
Half is pretty great.
It really opened up for me.
Okay, I love this movie. I thought this movie was like really, really good.
It's fun. It feels like any like toku show, but like just extended over an hour and a half.
But for daddy.
I feel like this is
daddy.
like
it feels
like toku for daddy.
Toku for like middle class Japanese women. I mean, you could watch this like in a family.
Do we think this movie's directed towards women?
Yeah.
Kinda.
I mean, it's like a general audience movie.
Yeah.
It is. I agree with that. It's a general audience movie.
I feel like this movie is great. I love this. I thought it was like really funny.
It was pretty funny. I liked it.
I thought it was like, I loved it.
I think the humor is like, it's a little hit or miss, but when it hits, it was like, I was laughing a lot actually.
I thought it hit almost every time.
To me, the funniest
itchy butt joke.
To me, the funniest scene to me was when they were on the bullet train and that one guy comes up to them and like, "Hey, where's the Pink Ranger?
Where's Pink?
Where's Pink? Where's Pink? Right?
Pink.
That was like the funniest scene to me. But other than that, I had like slight chuckles. Like to me. Like,
are you serious?
While watching,
like
that
Charles?
is really surprising.
While watching,
what about Charles?
Charles is fucking.
Charles is great. I love how he quivers his lip whenever he's like confused.
I feel, I like. I didn't really laugh too much at Charles, but.
Oh, I love
Charles.
I like.
Yo, we watching the same.
I like
movie?
the idea. Like... I like the idea of Charles, but like, I feel like. To me, Charles wasn't too funny, and also I didn't.
All right, so this will be Sporktown Heroine's final episode of the Unofficial Tokucast.
I feel like
see you guys later.
I feel like Charles, like, okay, tell me if you agree with this. Charles isn't really supposed to be a good person, right?
Oh no, he's
definitely
like a boss.
Not.
He's he's like Zordon, but like you're like a conniving manager. That's why they're like talking about like
he's like an idol group manager.
Yeah.
Piece of shit, man.
I get that, but I guess he just wasn't funny enough to like kind of like stop me from seeing that, like.
Hard disagree.
I disagree.
Yeah,
I like
hard.
I guess
I
like
did
comedy is subjective.
He was the
right?
best
But
part of the movie. Like
so?
I laughed at other parts of the movie a lot.
I really liked
like...
for some reason when he's talking about the name Jossy's, he's like, oh yeah, like the Bad News Bears. And I tried to like search the context for that. He says Ganbare Bears, but it translates as Bad News Bears. I'm like, what the fuck does this mean?
There were so many fucking references.
The Bad
in
News
this movie.
Bears.
Yeah.
Did you know
Yeah,
that the original Bad News Bears, their sequel took place in Japan?
Yeah, I did actually look that up. It was the third sequel, and it has like a 6% on like IMDb.
It might have had a good ass reception in Japan for all we know.
All right, I think we should go through it then.
Yeah.
So before we jump into it, for people who are listening to this that have not seen the movie, basically the movie, if you just watch the trailer, which I recommend, it's basically like a bunch of women on a Sentai team, like
adult women.
Women
Like
with
Power Rangers,
jobs.
basically.
They all have
Yeah.
jobs. I wanted
5 adult women with jobs.
I wanted to bring up the
have
fact
to save the world.
that Yuichi Fukada is the director. I feel like we should point that out. And he's
who's
not that
that?
important. He just makes
who
makes
is.
adaptations of like manga movies into movies. Like he has like one of
Ew.
Gintama and Seino Nissan. But the reason why I bring this up is because he actually did an adaptation of the Adam Sandler movie 50 First Dates. But it's called 50 First Kisses, and it came out in 2018.
There's a Japanese 51st Date.
Alright, so the next
I'm
episode
I'm
of the
not
Unofficial Tokucast will be 51st Kisses.
50 First Kisses.
I am
Oh my
unironically
God.
down.
Yeah, let's do
Wait, we gotta watch.
That counts as Tokusatsu, right? That's live
We
action,
gotta
isn't
watch
it?
the original and then that to compare them.
Yes.
No, I will not watch.
Yeah, I will. I
51st
will watch the original 51st Date and the Japanese adaptation because
It's the same premise, like.
No, but this has.
just-
No, I want to compare and contrast them.
I just think about how like horrifying the ending of 50 First Dates is, where like every day this woman wakes up and experiences horror that she's like been kidnapped by a man, and she's like for some reason like 9 months pregnant, and like but no, she has to watch like a VHS tape.
Yeah, it's like legitimately like a horror premise.
Yeah.
He's
That's
created
phenomenal.
like a
Imagine-
Skinner box
Imagine
for her.
like dating Adam Sandler. It's terrifying.
I think
That's scary enough.
I feel like okay for this discussion, I'm getting the vibe that I'm gonna be kind of the odd man out. That being said,
That's fine.
can I talk? I mean, I usually am the odd man out, but can we talk about? I want to talk about all the things I liked in this
Yeah,
movie.
sure.
Hold on. First, oh wait, we did just describe it, right? I guess
Yeah.
we did. Yeah.
The general
Okay, go
premise.
ahead.
What-
Go ahead.
okay.
I would like to go through it more, but yeah, go cheesy.
I like the idea of the movie. I think it's a pretty funny idea. I do like the group's dynamic, and I feel like the second half, like towards the end, is when they show the group dynamic the best. I thought it was a pretty fun group of characters, right?
Well, they don't really know each other in the very beginning. So
Yeah.
like what happens is like it's basically these 5 women just get called out of like doing whatever they're doing, and they show up in this room, and this guy on the screen with a fucking
With a
puppet.
fake-
The cat.
Oh my God.
The
Yeah,
cat.
We have
puppet.
we
It's
have
like,
to talk about
alright.
the fucking. Okay, that is like that's like a 2-shoe drop like joke to me.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, did you
You
guys
notice-
think that was like his hand, or is it just wholly unrelated?
No, that's
to
his
him?
hand.
I thought it's clearly a puppet.
Yeah,
Like,
it is
first,
clearly
I
a
But
didn't
puppet.
realize
I thought it
this.
was like a stuffed animal at
Yes.
first. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what is that supposed to be? And then it's
It's clearly a
and
puppet,
it's
but
like-
I just want your guys' opinion on whether it's him.
It's got to be
Doing
him.
the
I'm pretty sure
puppet?
it's him.
I did
Or,
not
like,
notice that
somebody
his
else.
hand was inside the puppet. I did not notice.
I want to
that.
imagine it's him, just because it adds more quirkiness
Well,
to
yeah.
him.
It was
I-
such a jarring scene when like that first makes an appearance, because there's like a good 5 or so minutes of him just like with this cat, and like I wrote a note down. I was like, this is a fake cat. Like,
Yeah.
shitty
I was like,
effects.
what is that animal? I thought, what is that animal?
and then it becomes like it's one of those things that I really love in a movie where they don't put too much focus on it, and they only have him like
Yeah.
like gesticulate to the camera like once or twice, and with it, and it's just like jarring every time.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like the
That's great.
first time he gets heated, and then he like brings it out, and then it's like
He's like,
like you're sitting there looking like, what is this fake animal? Are we gonna see what this is? Like, was it gonna be important? And then it's just a puppet that's on his hand. And it's like stupid as hell, but it's like really fucking good.
It's amazing.
So do we want to try and go through, because I have my notes are kind of like chronological. So
I'm down. Yeah, I like the opening. I thought the opening was really good.
All right, first Potman, the first Kaijin in this translation, which is not a good translation.
Yeah, it's a weird translation.
Because like
I wrote everything down with my.
Some of the lines are not translated in this movie.
Yeah, I went through the effort because I know rudimentary Japanese. I went through and like got all the like correct alliteration. So when we get to certain monsters, that'll be really fun.
I mean, yeah, like it's easy to tell what they're saying in those instances, but it's weird. But it's like, okay, so the first villain they fight a seaweed man who has like a pot leaf on his head.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of One Punch Man.
That's another thing, like, I got kind of a One Punch Man vibe with like the silliness of, I know this is like...
Yeah, this definitely feels kind of like in line with One Punch Man, so if you like that, then you might like this.
So we're given kind of like a flash forward cold open of our squad, our Joshis, as they're known, which I think is just kind of like it's basically like saying gals in English.
Yeah, I think it's like just like ladies or like girls.
Yeah. Charles said he got it in a magazine or something.
Oh, that was a really good bit when he says like, oh yeah, girls are the new thing. Like everyone's just doing like girl groups now.
Yeah,
girl
this
power.
is the era of girl power.
Yeah.
So we had like other like male Sentai or whatever groups before. We tried so many Rangers before this, so many. We can't even come up with new names. But now it's like they all specifically, they did not renew their contract to be like Sentai guys.
That is a great little detail that implies that they were getting money, and then the Joshis are just not getting money.
Yes.
I kinda,
like
they explored that later on for like a millisecond, but it's never brought up again. And I thought maybe that could have been a little bit more, like that could have been expanded on more. I would have liked to see that expanded on.
I think what it is like they've had like all like this guy is like there's like some organization. I mean, there has to be.
Right.
It's so
that
vague.
this guy is a part of. And they get Sentai guys, but like each like the previous guys have just like they just quit.
Yeah.
They have not renewed their contract for the new year, and so he's like, all right, I'm just gonna pick 5 hot girls. And
specifically they're girls that he finds attractive, right? And that's like that's like the
I liked the conversation with Green.
Partly.
It's like we liked your puppy dog eyes. That's why you're in.
Well, actually, he does explain that the reason why is because they all have a color in their last name.
That's
true. That's why they were chosen specifically. So
I actually wrote down their names, but just their first names because
I could not be bothered.
The names are
this is the first
Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, Cyan Ranger.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've ever seen Japanese last names translated in
like literal sense. Yeah, like Red Tree instead of Akai.
It's like, wait, those aren't Japanese names, but if you listen to them, it's like the red is like Akagi, Red Tree. Yeah. It's like it's like they're real names. So I like I've never seen that before.
Kanoko, Midoriyama, and stuff.
So yeah, in the beginning, so we have this little like seaweed man or seaweed demon fight, and the joke is that we have a one of the girls is not there because her eyelashes fell out, and she's getting eyelash extensions.
Blue. Yeah, she's getting her eyelashes
because she's like
I did like
she's
that.
like the clerk, the fashion clerk.
I did like that whole bit of like who cares about your eyelashes? And it's like, oh, the professor who the monster has kidnapped is gonna care. And then the person's like,
first they ask the monster, and he's like,
I don't give a shit.
Do you like full eyelashes? And he's like, only if they taste good. And then the professor, and he's like,
care.
I guess.
But then they ask the professor. They ask the professor, and he's like, well, like I prefer full lashes. Right? It's not like a serious endeavor, but like.
Well, if you were gonna, maybe a little full lashes.
I mean, he's like, but. Okay, and then so This is like setting up that all these monsters are like weak and basically
They're
like nothing.
they're stupid. They're like either like wild animals or like household bullshit.
They're implied to be like some sort of alien monsters. All come from like the same.
They're like alien
source.
ghosts. They're
They're called,
space ghosts.
yeah, they're
if
called
you will.
phantoms. Yeah, they're called phantoms. Right?
One reason this translation is bad is it translates kaijin as phantom,
Yeah, they're space
What
which
ghosts.
I do not
No,
understand.
it's because like it's a big thing in Sentai that the monsters aren't called kaijins. They have a specific kind of name, and each one of them they're like something different, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they say they just call them kaijin in this movie, but they translate it as phantom.
Interessante.
Like you can hear it. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And so, yeah, so like the first
Even though they're aliens.
like real one we actually see them fight is the mushroom one, and like instantly they use the Joshi tornado, which is just like the instant win move,
Their most
Right.
powerful move. Yeah.
which they just resort
It
to
just- it just
every
like-
time.
Every single time.
It just like Team Rocket blasts off again to the bad guys, and they just fly into the sky and are gone.
Right.
I guess they fly into space,
And
like back to space.
I think I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but there's one moment because every fight is in the same fucking quarry.
Yeah.
Not even
Oh,
the same quarry. It's the same shot.
Oh,
That's the,
You
yeah.
can tell
Yeah.
they had one day shooting at this quarry, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna get all this banged out today."
It's
And
really good.
I
'cause
really love
I mean-
that all the henchmen are like the same.
The same, yeah, it's the
they're
same
all the same.
henchman.
Yeah.
Like
So-
that's very Sentai
That's a-
because it, like
yeah.
it's in like even like in all tokusatsu like older Kamen Rider and whatnot, they do fight like at the same quarries because it's like the same
Yeah.
company. Like they
Yeah.
just have a location they go to, right?
Yeah.
It parodies it. It's like whenever like Charles says, "All right, we got a phantom. Go to the usual place." And every time it's the usual place.
usual
The
place.
kaijin just show up like right there,
Yeah.
and then they. It's like it's not even like trying to pretend it's not.
And there's one line later on where he's like, "Well, yeah, you have to stop them there, because then if they get too big and powerful, they'll destroy like Tokyo."
I love
And in my
that
notes,
they're,
I
like-
wrote, "We are never going to see a monster in Tokyo. That is
Yeah,
not
they-
something."
I
this
love how
movie
they're
can
like
do."
with a later monster. It's like, yeah, that took like 2 hours for you to get back.
Like the
Oh, I love
monsters are
that.
like almost weirdly polite. Like they'll wait. Like that. I mean,
Some are.
that's the joke, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll wait for the Josies to
Mhm.
like if they need something, they'll go get it. Like that whole bit about like they fight the stink bug, right? And they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna run to the store and get
You
Febreze."
smell, you fucking stink, you shitty poo poo man.
Poop chant
That's what
was
they
really
say first. You poop, you poopy
Poop.
asshole.
And they
Poopa.
only win because she accidentally bought a can of like bug spray, and that's what kills the.
Oh my
kaiju.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we like move away from that, I want to like take away one line from that where like Red is like recoiling and like Green catches her and is like, are you pregnant?
Oh
Yeah. I wrote that down.
Yes.
I do not understand that
Okay.
at all.
So the reason why is, and this is like one of the most clever jokes in the movie, I think, is because in a movie, whenever a woman throws up, it means she's pregnant. So like
Yeah.
anytime you ever see a movie from now on, if you see a female character throwing up, that means that she is pregnant, and the movie is like saying, "Oh, this is morning sickness." So the fact
What?
that they like lampshade that is hilarious to me.
It's very funny.
Wait, is that like a Japanese movie thing? 'Cause
No,
they're, like-
No, they do that
that's-
like in,
Usually
That's
I
like an
see it
American
because
thing.
Yeah.
they're like drunk in like an American
It-
movie.
it's
It's
no,
like film shorthand.
Yeah,
for,
it is
like-
like a film short. I mean, I thought they just included it because it's like the
I
movie
got
is
a
very
funny
much
from
like,
kind of shit.
oh, what does like a woman care about? You know, what's like the stereotypical things women care about? Oh, whether or not they're pregnant, love, marriage, their career, right, or their passions, like you gotta-
Shopping,
yeah, shopping. They gotta like
eyelashes.
like each one of these girls like represents that, right?
Yeah.
You can.
We didn't
yeah,
actually
you can,
touch on
like-
their personalities. You guys want to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yellow's poor.
Yellow is poor. She works
Yellow's
like
a
5 different
construction worker.
jobs.
Yeah,
Yellow is the best girl.
She does construction work, pizza delivery, maid
Clicking.
costume, I think.
Oh,
Clicking
yes.
too.
They don't even bring attention to the maid costume. She's just wearing one
She's
for
just-
one scene. It's
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Um,
It actually kind of
she's
like
trying
made
to
it
send
made
her-
it like made me a little confused because I'm like
Yeah.
I have a hard time recognizing.
You know, in most
faces.
like
Same.
Toku shit, like they usually like color coordinate even outside.
oh yeah, they don't do that.
And
They don't do that.
They don't do
here.
that here.
They
yeah.
do not really do that.
It was
here. Like,
mean. It was mean for them to not do that because constantly I would look at, like, there's one scene in particular that threw me off. Green, her whole thing is that she's like in a theater troupe,
Right.
Yeah.
and the scene where she's like pretending to be like a sea cucumber or whatever,
Mm.
I didn't know which one she was because she was wearing like a light blue shirt and like a yellow undershirt. So I was like, oh, it's yellow. She's like, they're just adding more things for yellow to do, but no, it was green for some reason.
But I think that's good, kind of, because it's like these girls do not care about the Sentai thing.
Yeah.
They're not gonna go to the effort of like color
It's just
coordinating for some bullshit they don't care.
It's another part-time job.
To be honest, I didn't really get too confused because when at the beginning when the girls are first teleported to that like dark room, they all like haven't like be like, what the fuck? I was in the middle of so and so or like my job, right? And like every time we see the girls, they're doing like the thing they described, right? Like the rich girl is at like at a fancy party,
at a socialite type thing.
Yeah,
with her
I mean, I
father.
always recognize the rich girl. I think.
Yeah, she's funny as fuck. Honestly,
Her
She
scene
has some
at the
great
end is
lines.
I
great.
think the characters that get the most attention, I feel, are the Red Ranger girl, red, yellow, and green. I think get the most attention.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a joke that like blue and navy are kind of similar.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I really love that too. Like
She's
how
like,
they bring attention to that early on. She's like, yeah, I don't want to be navy. Like that's so
I'd
close
rather
to blue.
be
I'd rather be
beige.
I'd rather be
Like,
beige.
Whenever they first show up, blue's not there.
Yeah.
But like it's just like navy. It's like what? Like what?
Yeah.
What's the team is navy?
Oh man, but I was so like let's before we delve into like what I would consider is Act 2 of the movie. Another thing that while watching like the beginning, like my thought process, like the first act, because this movie really felt like we're getting this one joke of like the average everyday woman in like a Sentai team, and we're really kind of like stretching it out as far as we can. That's what like the vibe I was getting from like the opening. I felt like there was the montage scene where like they're all in the middle of something and they gotta break out of it to like go like stop a monster, and I felt like a couple of those scenes like kind of dragged on a little bit too long. I felt like it could have been better as like a quicker montage, right? Like that was like the vibe I was getting.
Which part is this? Is this the part like near the end?
No, this is. I was still talking about the beginning. Like this is like that montage.
I feel
part.
like every scene has like a good amount of humor in it.
Yeah.
Like there's like a lot of weird like character stuff, even for like background characters who like we don't even remember their name. Like in like the one who like works at a clothing store.
Mika.
She's like this ugly lady who I guess is like a regular at the clothing store. And one of her coworkers comes up and he just like plays around with her, and it's like really fucking weird. They'd never show up again.
Was that a coworker? I thought it was like.
I thought they were husband.
I thought it was her boyfriend.
They were dating, yeah, because she was like working there, and she's like, "Huh, I bet I'll look cute in this," and she was like, she's blue, right? Or is that her name?
No, I think that was a coworker, because whenever he shows up, he's like, he sees her and he's like, "Oh, you look so cute," and then they do their little thing.
No, they were dating.
They just saw her that first time.
No, they were dating because he says like, "Oh, if you wear that, if you dress up cute, other boys are gonna like you." And then she's all like, "But I dress up cute for you." And then they do the little dance. Yeah, they're clearly dating. Yeah. Because they both have the ugly sense of fashion, right? Like, no, they have an ugly sense of fashion. I swear they're dating. Spork.
That's the vibe I got from it.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Okay,
but it's like there's like a lot of incidental.
I'm saying a lot of these like jokes could have been told quicker. Like we could have had like a quicker montage.
Most of the jokes are dialogue based. I feel.
Because the thing is that like I think we're kind of like you could have quicker dialogue based jokes, but I think because what I really liked is like I like when they interact. I like when the Jossies interact with each other. I think that's like the best part of the movie is them interacting. And I'm like, this montage could have been cut a little bit tighter because I kind of want just more Jossies interacting. Like, I kind of like.
I simply disagree.
I mean, I think the girls have a good dynamic that's pretty entertaining to watch.
They do, but like I think everybody in this movie has a pretty good dynamic. Like the fucking Akagi, I don't remember her first name's like Red.
Naoko.
That's Red. She's like she works for like a construction agency or whatever, trying to build a museum.
Toyoshima.
And, like in one scene, she's like got a presentation, but she leaves. And then like her like boss or like somebody like has to like step in, but he doesn't know what's going on.
He's so
that's
just
that's like way later.
It's but it's just like this random guy like has this whole scene where he's like fumbling with the papers, just trying to come up with something to say to sell the museum pitch, and it's
all right.
Yeah, he's like just like dripping everywhere, and it's like what like.
It really just kind of becomes Red's movie.
Yeah.
In the second act, I think
that's what I was wanting to talk about because while I was watching, I was thinking like, is this what it's just gonna be? Just like the montage of the girls doing this, and then suddenly it becomes Red's movie. Like it focuses on Red.
But it's also like before that. Like,
we forgot about the
in
pub
the scene where they're all the Joshis are in the restaurant together.
Yeah. Yes.
And like all like this like group of guys just shows up.
I want to point out one particularly great line about that where they're just talking battle strategy, and like Navy's just like, remember that time I made one. Went back to space because I cried. I just thought that was a particularly standout line.
Yeah. It like these fucking like background characters like
they're like
you would think there's like filler in this movie, but like the background characters like all shine. I feel like if they're given time, then they're like all good.
Yeah.
Like this fucking group of guys who shows up in the restaurant like is like saying, oh, all these hot girls.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sit down.
It's like,
we're
and
young,
just
attractive boys. Let's sit down with these young, attractive girls, right?
That's traditional
it's
Japanese.
Like, it's like a
bar
ridiculous
culture.
scene because they all like all the
They
background
circle
characters
them.
act like they act like cartoon characters.
I feel like I understand like why every woman is afraid of like this kind of thing where it's like they just literally these guys just encircle this group of women. They're just like, oh, they just start like making weird noises and stuff.
And look, because two of them are like, all right, are you gonna pay for us? Then all right, cool.
Yellow immediately. It's
yellow
like,
and
oh yeah,
blue.
I can get dinner. Like you can just buy me dinner right now. That'd be cool.
And they're like, yeah. So,
and then they like
yeah.
Red like chases them away, and there's one really funny line that I loved where, I think Blue says it. She's like, oh, the one guy kind of looked like a Korean movie star, and then Red's like, Korean movie stars are not my thing.
Yeah, I noted that. It's like it's a weird.
It's such a weird. There's all these
Korean
references to like
movie stars are
actors
not
and like
especially
specific
later
actors.
on
I mean,
too.
You got to remember this is like for contemporary Japan.
Yeah. This is
Oh, totally.
mainstream.
It's just
this is a very mainstream
like really funny
film,
to see.
Yeah.
right? And then right after that, it becomes Red's movie. Right?
Yes.
Which
Well, I mean,
Okay, so-
first they talked to Charles about the pay stuff. Do we want to bring that up quick?
I wish that was kind of expanded on because they bring up that bit where like the original Sentai team before you like they like dropped their contract, right? And like then they bring up the whole thing about getting paid because we cut like hours from work and also one of us is dead ass broke, right? And I was like, I kind of wish they expanded on that a little bit because they had that first thing about the original team not renewing their
I
contract.
think this is one of the best.
I wanted to bring up, they only asked for like, what is the equivalent of like
$100.
95 USD for like
Yeah.
a monster?
Yeah.
Per monster.
She asked for like 100 out, and then like
And-
they each get like $100.
That's
And then
like
is it
pennies.
Navy that's like, I want to give my share to Yellow because she's
Yes.
working hard and I don't need the money.
Yeah.
I love
I,
that.
I,
And he's like, wait a minute, guys. I did not approve the payment thing just yet. Hold on.
Also,
Like they've all like decided that they're gonna get paid, and the guy like Charles is like, nah.
this is also like one of my favorite gags in the movie where Red is like, we need a better name than Josie's, and he's like, all right, the Josies.
God, Josies.
This is like probably
the Josies?
like the one of the top 3 scenes in the movie is whenever like he's like trying to come up with names.
Yes.
And then he just like
We
he's
cannot
like,
undersell
all right, like
Charles.
how do you
Like-
okay, you got any ideas?
A full
How about
minute.
like Josie's to be decided, like TBD?
And he-
and he just like starts laughing.
He
I
laughs
just-
at his own joke.
I love a full minute
Yeah,
of like
that's a
his
very,
like lip
like,
quivering.
him,
I don't
like,
get how
laugh-
you don't like the lip quivering. It's so good.
Him
He's just like,
laughing is like-
boo, 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 boo.
It's like that subtle like dickishness that he has about it.
Yeah.
Charles is like a fucking ham,
I-
and like he every time he shows up, he just like
He's
chews
the
it up. He
singer.
just like
He
fucking
does.
takes over.
Okay, so this
Is he someone?
he might be like a big actor, maybe.
He
He
might
might
be.
be. That's
I
why
mean,
he probably
probably.
only is in that green screen room because maybe he's too
Yeah.
Oh
expensive.
damn, you're right.
Yeah.
I only wrote down.
I mean, like, where
I
would he
didn't write
show
down the
up? Like,
actors.
these
I mean,
things
what
always
if what
have
if
something
like what if like he was supposed to have a real cap, but he's like, nah, I ain't doing that.
Nah.
It's like,
I mean,
I-
it's great because like part of the parody of this movie is like parodying how like low budget these movies are.
Yeah.
So it's like Charles, he's like
He's a Zordon
I guess he's
type.
like your
Yeah.
what's in like 007, you got like what's
M.
the ladies M.
Yeah.
He's like M, and like he's got like he has like a cat, because like these
Don't the
guys
bad
always
guys-
have like a cat.
Wait a
The
minute.
bad guys in James Bonds have cats.
Wait a minute, everybody shut the fuck
Well,
up. He's Charlie from Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I noticed that because he does call them Justice Angels.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
agree.
yes.
And it's like, okay, so he should have a cat,
Yeah.
but we can't afford to have a cat on screen, so he just has a fucking
Okay, this
puppet.
might be
Yes.
this might be a very annoying thing for me to bring up. But how I mentioned so I mentioned earlier that like I wasn't really digging Charles, right? And I think the whole pain thing, that's what kind of like that was like, okay, that's like my inner okay, watch out guys. Cheesy's gonna get
Paying.
no their payment, right? Like
Oh.
like compensating them for saving the world and whatnot, right?
Right.
Okay, watch out.
Here it
Watch out.
goes.
Cheesy's gonna get a little political right now.
I
think
why
my-
Josie's is
my-
about
My
capitalist decline.
my inner like kind of like socialism because just listening to Charlie like really like weasel his way out of like paying them, and one of them is like kind of broke, and they would solve like a lot of their problems. Like really
Yeah.
kind of made me dislike the guy because
Well, I mean,
He's a
he's still
fucking
funny.
asshole.
Movie's
You're
doing
like,
its
if
You're
job.
not supposed to like.
Like,
The
We're
movie's doing its
supposed to think
job.
he's kind of a dick.
yeah.
He is like,
Yeah, but then-
this is like a
boss.
ramshackle operation.
No, but they
like,
do that, and then like later on in the movie, Charles kind of positions himself as like morally superior than Red because like, oh, why did you like leave the team, bro? You left them hanging, like blah blah blah. It's like, bro,
I mean, real
like
bosses
You're
you
do
looking,
that.
I think you're looking a little too deep into it because it's like,
Yeah. He's just like a real boss.
they have-
you know?
yeah, they have it. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's just like, this is just a boss that they're. I mean,
I
if you
mean-
want to like take that route, it's like he's like the piece of shit, like taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
Like, and they do have to do this job because like these kaijin are kind of maybe a threat actually.
Maybe,
So
A
it's
little
like,
bit.
like
somebody's actually got to do this.
I have a
he's
big
like-
brain theory
Look,
about this, actually.
I wish.
Okay, go ahead.
Go on.
So none of this is real. Okay, there's one scene that disproves it, but like,
Oh no.
no, it's not that silly. But like, we never actually see the phantoms or whatever, the kaiju, pose a threat. So, what if this is all just like for entertainment's purpose? Like, we
It
see that
could be.
Red does have superpowers in one scene, but
I
Which is
feel
never brought up
like-
ever again.
it's just
I feel
it's
like
just not.
Well, it kind of is.
That's
but
why it's
it's
like a
like
big
I feel
brain.
like if that were a thing, it would have come up because that would have been the source of a lot of comedy. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just like what I think is happening is like this is like an organization that like used to be a big deal to defeat these kaijin and have these like Sentai teams, but like everybody realized that this job just sucks.
Yeah, it's silly.
And as it like went along, they all just quit, and like now we're just down to like, all right, the director's gonna like pick five somebody. Go ahead, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like
it
we
feels,
can't pay them. We can't do anything.
It
Like,
feels
it's just
very
fucking-
much like the gig economy kind of thing because it's like everybody except Red is like a part timer basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's all like a second
Red's
job.
a
for them.
career woman.
And
Yeah.
Red's a career woman, which is probably why the second half of the story is all about like her, you know.
Yeah.
So the
that-
Japanese men can relate to her.
Yeah, so that whole thing with her, like, okay, this is where it got pretty interesting to me, where it's like, okay, so now we
We
focus,
can talk about the funniest scene in the movie.
now we focus on
Wait.
Red.
Before we go to that, I think we skipped Woodpeckerino. I just
Oh, we
wanted to bring
did.
this up. I just wanted to bring this up.
love
I wrote
Woodpeckerino.
I wrote down
Yeah,
his
she-
name. It's Kaijin Kitsuki. I love how he has woodpeckers in his ears too.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she tries to say it, and she's like, it's like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Woodpeckerino.
And I really like at one point, Red's like, all right, he can't hurt us. Woodpeckers only peck wood. And then Woodpeckerino is like, I'm going to peck right through you. And he's like, no, I thought you could only peck wood.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't even mention this, but like the costume design in this movie is fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not,
like,
for
The
low
Standard
monsters
Toku.
look
for
awesome.
low budget, like I mean, they do
The monsters look
they
good.
do the
Yeah.
thing where like they're wearing like the skin tight black suit and they have stuff on it, but it does unironically like look good.
Still there, Cheesy?
Like I like that. I like that look.
I like how the Joshis all have like a heart that clearly has like
The circuit
LEDs
board.
and
Yes.
wires in
Yeah.
it,
I
but it
love
does
that.
not
Never
light
brought
up.
up.
I mean,
Never brought
no,
up.
but it's like that's great because they do that like in like Kaider because he has like open
Yeah.
open head and you see the like lights in there, but they don't light up.
It's great because it's like it's such a really good parody of like Sentai shit.
It's
like,
just the fact that it's just one little circuit
A
board
lot
is
of
what's
like
funny.
their costumes look very similar to like this other group that is considered like there's like another group of like Sentai that's all women, and their costumes look very similar to that, and they also have like the heart, like they have that heart thing over them as well. But the thing is, like, they're not really considered in the canon, even though I think they're like not, but not really. And it's very, I forget their name. I wish I had the fucking name. But once you see what they look like, you're gonna see like where that influence came from.
I mean these designs are like very similar to a lot of other ones. Okay, I just want to say, like, before we talk about the funniest scene in the movie, I want to say like the show like gives me like kind of like almost like an Adult Swim vibe. How just fucking like
in the third act, yes, very much so.
Yeah. It's like with the puppet and shit. It's just like it kind of no sells a lot of its comedy, and it's really funny. It's like a really lot funnier because of that.
Yeah, there's a specific.
It's very good.
The ending scene. I want to point out one thing, but when we get to that, we'll get to that.
Yeah, like Charles is just like Charles like almost feels like he's like improv.
Yes,
like,
he does. He feels like a Tim and Eric.
There's a very improv vibe to it.
There is a part in the third act where it just kind of becomes a slow film. Like, it just, the shots become so long and they just spend all this time. Like, I just thought it was really funny.
when it gets to that, I'm like, this is like almost a different movie now.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But it was frankly insane.
Okay, Cheesy just posted a picture of
what I think might be the direct inspiration for the Josie's outfit.
Yeah, that looks right.
I'm gonna just say I'm coming from a place of like very much not in Sentai. Like, I like kaiju flicks, but Sentai is not something that I've seen any of. So actually I kind of have two things I want to ask. The one is, isn't there also like one of the original like Super Sentai designs very similar? Like, it's got kind of just like a bike helmet and then like the scarf.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider?
Maybe it was Kamen Rider.
It's
I know I've seen a similar one.
Kamen Rider started the whole like scarf thing, and that's why. Like,
really?
Yeah, that's why they all have it. Which actually comes from like motorcycle culture, because when you like you're driving your motorcycle, your neck gets cold, so you have a scarf. And Kamen Rider has like his motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
Think of it like a cape, but mean.
Yeah, it's like instead of cape,
it doesn't get caught.
It's like a cape, but like a million times.
But
cooler.
instead of cape shit, we call it scarf shit.
We call it scarf
that's right.
shit.
This ain't cape shit. This is,
so now let's talk about Red. Let's talk about Red's like. It suddenly becomes Red's story, right? So she's she's a career woman, right?
Toyoshima Construction.
Best scene in this movie. This is where it happens, right? Where she kicks the can.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
it's
shortly
after.
That like hobo guy.
Yeah, Red is like walking like angry that like after like, because Charles like reprimanded all of them.
Yeah.
So like Red's like walking angry, and then she sees a can. She just like kicks a can, but since she has Joshi super strength, she just kicks it into like some random guy walking down the street in front of her, and he like flies like 20 feet back into like a pile of trash. And then his friend is just like standing there. He's like, "Wow, what?" He just like kicked the can, and then they're both like laughing. It's like, it's hard to describe. It's a really amazing scene where it's like this random bystander is like, "You just kicked this can, an empty can, into my friend. Look how far back he flew," and they both start laughing.
The bit that gets me
wait! I love the moment right after that when that guy is gonna I think he's gonna punch Red, and then like the mysterious like kind of implied to be boyfriend character shows up, grabs his fist, and he's like, "You shouldn't do that to a lady." And he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And then this guy like chops a bunch of like.
He's got like the karate tiles like to the stage left, and he's like, "Wah!"
After they like stop laughing, the guy's like, "Are you an idiot? What are you doing?" Yeah. Like he's like gonna start fighting her, and then Naruse, this guy, like one of her coworkers, like shows up, grabs his hand before he can like touch her, and then he's like, the guy's like, "All right, what are you gonna do?" And then like he just does this fucking like hua, like kung fu move.
The way that he moves, like There's so many. I can't think of any examples, but like in a movie, when you're expecting something to happen and then a character just moves like towards the screen, it's like so unsettling, and it was so hilarious when he like slams. He just like cuts through like 10 tiles, like they were just having placed there.
He does like the kung fu like Bruce Lee fucking like flex like while saying "hua," and then he like turns off screen and smashes 10 tiles that just happen to be like 10 like stone tiles that just happen to be stacked up there, and the guy's like, what? This guy just smashed 10 tiles that just happen to be there. Who are you guys? I'm getting out of here. It's like
also something that like totally just never comes up again in any way. It's great.
It's so he barely
that boyfriend character just never comes back ever. Like he straight up disappears.
Just stops showing up.
He's just
Much
kind of
like Karu in Evangelion. He's around for like 5 minutes.
It's stuff like that makes. This is why, like at the beginning, I said like, oh, they had one joke and they stretched it out as much as they can and made up like a lot of things on the way, right? Because that boyfriend character doesn't really like lead to anything. Right?
I think he's just there
I was
be
feeling
there.
like is this going to be like the tuxedo mask kind of guy or something, but no.
We just need an element of romance, like,
because
that becomes part of Red's like temptation. Because Red's whole arc basically is like, why would I care about doing my Jossy shit when I could just like do my actual job and make real money and like have a career and a boyfriend and like a real life.
And the thing about it is like she's also like she was the one basically like guiding all of the other Jossies while they weren't showing up to work on time and shit.
I mean, she convinced them all at the beginning to stick with the Jossies, right?
Yeah.
She's a very serious, like, whenever, like, they're saying what are our superpowers, Charles says, you, Red, you're serious. That's all he says. Like, she really, like, commits to things that she feels are important.
Yeah. She's
and,
a
like,
career
eventually, this is where, like, her job starts to become more important, because, like, her dream is to, like, build a museum with her own design.
And she's got
it.
Which,
and,
can we say, literal garbage. That fucking design looks like dog shit.
It looks like a Ghibli like high from like Nausicaa. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, so I think let's just briefly talk about this little. So her mini arc is basically just, oh, we got the big account coming up, and then she has to fight for the big account, and then she chooses not to fight. I forget who it was.
It was Snake Charmer. Sunekurune.
It's the first strong kaiji in Snake Charmer.
So by choosing not to fight Snake Charmer,
he has a sick design, by the way.
Oh yeah, Snake Charmer.
He's pretty cool.
Cool. The stronger the cooler they look, the stronger they are.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, I want to talk about the last guy when we get there, but the one thing that I actually really like about this whole thing, so she blows off the Josie so she can give her presentation, and then at the end of the day, all the Josies show up to her apartment and they're all like beat up, and their first thing is like, "Oh my god, are you okay? Like, were you in an accident?" Like, they're so concerned for her, and it like
because there's no way Red skipped out on this on purpose. She's like the most dedicated to it.
It honestly sells the scene in like this parody joke movie. Like, it's
pretty good.
I liked that little detail.
There's some good pathos.
Yes, I agree. I agree. There is.
I want to point this out.
I thought it. Okay, go ahead.
They just mentioned how they got rid of Snake Charmer, and they just said, "Oh, it got cold, so he ran away in the evening."
Yeah, like he's so strong that the four of them, except for Red, cannot defeat him. Yeah. I thought what was gonna happen. Like, I was like, what if they just fucking die? Like, what if this movie just fucking soars? Because I kind of can't like expect where this movie is gonna go, because shit will just happen.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if they all just die, and it's like a fucking Madoka moment or some shit. Well, that would be so fucking
I really
insane.
was wondering what was going to happen, because like they do a decent job with that cliffhanger. It's like, oh shit, are the Josies like fine? Because they sure didn't look fine.
Are the Josies over?
I mean,
they're like all beat up. Like they have like one of them black eye band-aids.
And that's one thing I liked about the movie, is like how unpredictable it was at a couple moments, and that kind of kept me like, okay, well, what's gonna happen next now to the Josies, right? Because Red does feel like she feels like ashamed, and also she kind of like, we kind of skipped over the part where like the boyfriend character kind of like, she never really like accepts the boyfriend in her life. He just kind of like
I put that in my notes.
He just kind of shoves himself into her life, right?
Yeah.
And
It's fucking weird.
He's like
It's very,
she's
like,
like not
J-romance
really. She's not
kind of
looking for
thing.
any like romantic thing or anything. But this guy's apparently had like a crush on her the whole time, and now he's like he shows up. He like quote unquote saves her.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He does not seem to notice that she kicked the can with super strength, but it's not important.
Yeah.
Maybe he did, and it just
He
doesn't
still
matter.
doesn't
But
fuck.
yeah, because he. I don't know, but it's
They're a
like
power couple
and
in the literal,
he's
in
like
the business.
he's
and
like trying to
literal
be like a
sense.
smooth, like cool guy because he's like takes her out to this like fancy restaurant that's like has a big view. It's like a high rise, and then he like kisses her like just.
I need to say one thing. The budget of the movie is actually like I think pretty well allocated, except like small things like the scene where they're in the restaurant. The wine glasses they have are just two different wine glasses.
I love
This
that
is such
you
like a
noticed that.
stupid thing that only I would notice.
Boy,
but, like,
I
it's
hope
so
someone
good.
got
That's a
fired
different
for that
scene. Or
blunder.
it might be that scene. Yeah, but it's like this fucking guy, and then she's like almost like starts crying whenever he's like, "I want to marry you, like for
Like-
real."
it's pretty fucked
Like-
up.
And
the
she's
part
like,
where
"I
she
don't."
said-
She like doesn't know how to fucking feel about it.
Yeah,
But then
and it felt so
the way
weird.
that the
It-
one scene,
it
I'm
made
sorry,
me-
Cheesy.
It made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah,
this guy's just
he's
like,
feels
like
a
just
kiss.
fucking kisses her, like even though she is not like you know.
He like
he just
sneaks
totally
up on her.
goes
It's
for it.
creepy.
yeah.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy, Naruse. He's an interesting character.
Wonder where his character arc will go.
I think he was just there to be like a two-dimensional, like Toku love interest type of deal.
Yeah.
I thought he was just there because like, oh yeah, well the businesswoman, she's not gonna have time for love, so that's gonna be another angle we're going for until like we kind of was interested in that, just kind of drop it, right?
Yeah.
I think the purpose of him is like he says, the reason I love you is you are so dedicated to your job and everything you do. And that kind of makes her like go, and also along with like getting the museum contract, she's like, all right, I've got to actually like get down to my job. I can't be like doing this Joshi shit. Like all the kaijin seem like weak. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like I can just like do my
That's where the movie
job.
kind of like I like the joke that the Josie stuff is silly and then like real life is like real life, but like that's the part where it's like, well, she's kind of right, because like the
She is
kaijins
right.
tend to not leave that quarry, right? So it's like,
She was right, and I'm surprised that she still blew him off after seeing them all get hurt.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
like I guess she
It was
just
like,
assumed they would all stop showing up or something, or
Yeah, because they say, well, if you're not going to do it, then we're not going to do it. But they still go out and they still fight
Yeah.
what if like
up until the
an
last
interesting
part.
twist was that what if like Charles was like lying or something to kind of like guilt her?
Well, he showed her like
No,
footage
but
of
like
them
what if like he
fighting.
faked the footage?
Yeah,
What-
I mean,
He has.
he can like surveil them
Oh yeah,
clearly because
he
he's
mentions
like,
They
the
all
boy-
got that
What were
watch.
you-
He mentions
yeah.
the boyfriend, doesn't he?
yeah, he like at one point, after like Red's been like shirking the Joshi shit, Charles like calls her in and he's like, "What have you been doing?" And she's like, "I've been working," but he's like, "No, you've been kissing your boyfriend, and you were like daydreaming the other day." And it was like, how does he know this shit?
It's,
Like, how does she?
It's like, I mean, another. What if like the boyfriend was like a plant or something, like that works for Charles, right? Like there's.
There's so
Like,
don't get
many
this
ways this
cheesy.
movie can go. This is like the beauty of this movie. It can go like so many different directions, but like you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention one of the things that I like love, and it's just like a staple of this kind of thing, is like there's stupid watches that are just actually just a
Yeah.
toy. Like that would just totally be a toy if this
Oh,
was a real
yeah.
Sentai
Yeah,
series.
that's like a common Toku thing, is
Right.
that
Yeah.
every device they have is supposed to look super marketable.
I
figure he can probably like watch them or like hear them through that.
here.
And that's
Here-
why.
That makes
But it's-
sense.
Here's the thing that kind of like, all right, here's my like, here's my little inner feminism coming out during this
Oh
part.
boy.
Where
Letting it out for once.
I gotta go unleash
For
just
once.
once, master. But what? Okay, so she gets the deal, right? It gets approved to go with the art museum, right? And she's like, okay, I'm gonna be 100% dedicated because this is my dream. I want the art museum to look like this. And then there's that like one there's this one character on her team. It's like a younger guy, right? And the way
Yoshimura is the name, I believe.
The way he's like shot, like the way this character is shot, it makes it's telling us that this guy is like an important character because the camera takes time to like look at him. We see his like when she acts like all like quote unquote
she's like on boss mode. Like she's like in girl boss mode.
Yeah, when she goes girl boss, we see this guy's reaction, right? So it's kind of like telling, and then that guy is there when they go to like the head guy who's gonna approve the finances, right? And he says like, yeah, this art museum looks a little uggs, and then like that guy who's right there says like, oh yeah, I agree, and then she's like, why didn't you bring it up earlier? And it's like, oh well, because you were being kind of like so and so, like you wouldn't like listen.
You wouldn't let me, because she's so driven that this museum has to look like her design, but then that design gets rejected.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, and then I guess skip a little bit to the end of the movie. She like because like the final monster is like this big bad, right? Like they need all the Josies to stop this one.
What was his name? It was like
Metal
Golden
Gordon
or something.
Metal Gordon.
Metal Gordon.
Who to me looked like Megatron from
These Josies are frozen.
He looked like the shitty new Megatron from like the new Michael Bay Transformers.
I wanted to point out how he has each of their colors
he doesn't.
in
What
his
are you
chest.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, he has like different colored eyes.
Yeah,
That's the
I
only
feel like
thing.
these must be costumes from something else. Like this is they're like weirdly good.
No, I feel like what happened is that I think because I get a big vibe of this movie that like this was kind of like they're just putting whatever they stuck, and maybe at one point in the script, because that monster had like each one of their colors on his body, and I thought that was gonna play into something, right? But like I guess it doesn't really unless they're trying to say those colors.
It's just a little thematic thing.
Those colors
this
are
movie
telling.
Is definitely.
Those colors are telling you.
Like,
all right, go on, go Swerve.
All right, you go. Are you saying
I was gonna say
them, like they all have to be there?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And okay, so that one character that I mentioned before, the guy character who was like holding back because she was going girl boss, eventually she just decides that guy, like, you know what, you're in charge of this project, right? And kind of just gives him the project, and that kind of like bugs me a little bit.
I think he was like a designer specifically, and she was like in sales or something.
She's in sales, yeah. And she's like taking over the entire project.
Yeah, because she's such a girl boss.
With her shitty
she
design.
radiates so much energy that she can like suppress the design team.
Shit sandcastle design.
Shit sandcastle.
I guess I get that, but like to me it kind of felt a little bit like, well, this movie like never presented us that this designer's like take would be any better than like Red's take. Right, that he just kind of like gives this role to a younger man, right? Like, this girl boss has to compromise to a younger man. And that kind of like
here it is.
You can definitely look at it that way.
Here it is. Here's the real. Let me just cut through all this bullshit. So, in this movie, they are shitting on individualism. Okay. They're saying Red wants to be an individual, bad. Red being individual is bad. She needs to be part of a team. So the whole thing with that is like, Red wants to circumvent all the other departments, and she's like, oh, we're going to have this beautiful, like, crazy-looking art building, this art museum that's going to look different from everything else. And then the old guy, who's, like, the financer, I guess, his whole thing is like, oh, but it would be unattractive for one building to look different.
It's got to be cohesive with the natural beauty of our town.
Yeah.
That line kind of bothered me, too, to be honest.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's definitely there is definitely an anti-individualist thing. It's kind of like
Japanese
put aside your personal desires for the greater good.
This is a comment, and I hear this like from other like Japanese people saying that in their belief, the phrase like the one like blade of grass,
the one nail that sticks out.
Yeah, the one blade
gets hammered in.
Right, exactly.
Wait, what is
nail? The nail that sticks up.
The nail that sticks out.
Talking about?
Yeah. Nails, grass,
or the grass that sticks out gets like cut down, so they're all like the same, right? And that's what kind of like irks me a little bit about the movie, right? I mean, it's not like the worst thing.
But I mean, you are a socialist, so you should. I mean,
you should shriek and piss every
like
time
look. If I was to pump up the socialism in the movie, I would have it that the girls like do get the pay they deserve for like saving the world. Like they would at least
No,
that
but-
would have been a big point towards the end. That's what I would
Cheesy,
have
don't.
wanted.
Wouldn't you say that like the fact that they all work these like shitty jobs that are unsatisfying is probably like a better socialist viewpoint of the movie? Because it's, I mean, they don't live in socialism. They live in fucking neo-capitalist Japan.
No, I agree. I'm just saying like, if I were to pump up socialism into this movie,
It's kind of like
because the movie's meant for mainstream audience. I get that.
Yeah.
it's kind of like they all have like everyone except for Red, who has a real career. They all have part-time jobs and they're like trying to like get by. One of them's trying to like send money to her brother who wants to go to college. It's like, but like they don't like the work that they're doing.
Yeah, it's ungratifying.
And it's like this Joshi thing is like their greater calling, sort of.
And they don't even really like
And
that.
They don't even really like the Jossy thing.
They
either.
don't like that, but like they find like a sense of it's weird. Like I feel like this movie was written like as it went. Like there was no clear like plan like
Right,
going into this
exactly.
movie kind of.
Exactly.
Which is like good.
I like that.
because it makes it unpredictable and funny.
Yeah, it just makes it bullshit, which is great.
But I mean, there's really no reason to harp on that for too long.
I think those things like interest me. Like that's like what gets me.
Yeah.
And then once like she has to learn to compromise, and then they tell her that the most powerful like phantom is gonna show up, and she shows up because the first time she showed up in a long time, and then she's facing the strongest monster, and she's by
Metal Gordon.
Yeah, she's
Metal
by
Gordon.
herself, and there's no more of the Josies. And to me, this is like the best part of the movie. It's like
it's great.
This
It's
is-
phenomenal.
This is where it becomes a different movie.
Yeah.
And it's for the better. Like every
Yes.
scene after this,
Every
like
scene hits.
so. Okay, the first one is she like runs into the city, and this is a hilarious new rule that we didn't know. She tries to talk to Charles, and he's like, "Oh no, you can't change out of your Josie clothing until you beat the monster." So she's
But just like
she's
yeah.
just trapped in her fucking like Sentai suit.
Yeah.
And the first one she finds is Yellow, and Yellow is working as like, I just remember this from a K-On! Episode. Apparently it's a job where you just sit down and like click a little clicker when someone walks by, and that's
count how many people are moving through an area.
yeah.
Like it seems like she's probably like, trying to like find the like usefulness of this little bridge that they're looking at.
And it is like Yellow just is so fed up with Red that she's like blatantly like F you, like I need this job more. And they just have like, I could not believe how long these fucking jokes were. It was like the classic.
It's like an indie movie. Like
Yes.
it's like some Juno shit or something.
It's like the classic joke where it's like, okay, all right, that was funny for a few seconds, but now it's not funny, and then it becomes funnier because they've committed to like this joke of an old man walking down a flight of stairs with a cane for like 30 seconds.
Yes.
Red is like, all right, you gotta come. The counting's not that important, but Yellow's like, all right, it is important. So Red just like stands there and like watches her count, and like for like 10 whole seconds,
yeah.
they're just like, it's like a wide shot of like them on the right side, and then there's a bridge. Nobody's there, and then we see the old man, like we see his cane. I like noted this because it's like, the way the bridge is constructed, you can see like whenever he first like shows up on the screen, the first thing you see is like his cane. So
Yeah.
it's like, like, oh god, like, and it takes up like a whole 30 seconds to like walk down the thing,
Oh, God.
and it.
What if
And
we
then
did
it
this
keeps
2 more
going.
times? What if we did this 2 more times? This is
Like,
so
no,
funny.
No dialogue. It's so fucking good.
One of my favorite lines in the whole movie comes in this scene. I think it's in between one of the people like walking and then the very long like pause before Yellow clicks the little clicker. But Yellow says, because Red is like, no, this doesn't fucking matter. Like, we need to save the world. And then Yellow's like, those who don't take counting seriously can't be counted on.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good line.
It's such
golden.
A fuck you,
And
like
golden.
Get the fuck out of here.
And okay, then right after that, I do like.
And then
Oh,
like the way they
oh,
resolve that is they get like this
They
bystander.
get this like
No,
high
she
schooler.
seduces this like
She
guy because
seduces
this
this
guy
kid.
like
So good.
clearly
This
has
high
like
schooler
a
that's
like
just
a
watching
cosplay
that.
fetish right? And she
Yeah.
does like the most corniest version of like the sexy dance
She's
towards
like,
him.
Yeah,
Hello.
some fucking like Minerva.
And so yeah, after that hilarious scene, 1 hour and 10 minutes into the movie, we see the first transformation sequence.
Yes.
Yeah,
First
like, Yellow
and
just,
only.
She's like, all right, let's go, and she just does it.
First
Yeah.
and
And
only
then-
transformation. That is, to me, is like insane because that
It's
is like
nuts.
such a staple of this
I
like
didn't even notice.
genre.
I didn't even notice that.
It's so
You're right.
quick. She spins.
Yeah.
I think she spins and then like
she like throws out a
She, like,
hand, and then when
spins and
she's like
claps her hands.
transformation,
It might be like
she,
a.
spins.
Is that like a? Do you think that's like a Wonder Woman reference? Because that's how Wonder Woman transforms in like the old '70s show.
what, Linda Carter, whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
Linda Carter.
Woman. She spins.
Oh.
And that's what
She doesn't
gets her
spin
out.
like Linda
I mean,
Carter
it looks
does.
like plenty other Sentai transformations.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean the thing is they have a Charlie's Angels reference, so I'm like, oh well, maybe they have a reference to other like
Yeah.
kind of like a women centric action. Things,
I think
you know?
I would call it
past
less a spin and more a twirl. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Wonder
It's
Woman
like
like
she like does
spins.
like her like they
Yeah.
all have the pose. She does the pose, and then the light shows up, and she just spins like once, and then she's in the suit, and it's like, all right,
I
let's
really
go.
like the scene right after this, not with Blue, the scene right before it, where like they're running like over that bridge and it like takes a while because they're running towards the camera and then they run towards the other end like.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why-
I kind of
like-
just like that in between. Like it's like it's so funny to see them in full costume.
And then during that, they say, and like, one of them says, "Can't we do the time warp?" It's like, and then the other one says, "No, we can only do that in the quarry."
In the
It's like,
gravel
what?
pit,
Like, what are you
yeah.
talking
So they can
about?
only instantly teleport to the quarry. They can't like instantly teleport anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, this time warp is never brought up before or after. It's like, can't we just like warp over there? It's like, no, we can only do that in the quarry.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Where, like the movie just becomes like a long film where like we have that super long shot of them just running on the bridge.
Yes.
And like, if this movie was 20 minutes shorter, I would say, okay, well, they clearly only shot like 60 minutes of footage and needed to stretch the movie out more. But the
Yes.
movie's like an hour 30, so like they
It's
weren't.
a good sized movie.
I guess they weren't like in the danger of not. I don't know what, because like I know at least.
No, the movie at this point is about over because you already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And like
It's just like
In
now
a-
it's time for like this like ridiculous like comedy
Mhm.
thing.
But like in America, I think in order to have your movie shown theatrically, you need to hit 90 minutes.
Yep.
So there's like a joke with like a lot of shitty low budget movies where it's like, oh, they just barely skirted over the 90-minute mark by like squeezing in like 10-minute long credits.
Oh.
But like this movie would have overshot that anyway. So I don't like they just did this for fun, I guess.
It's
for
just-
jokes.
This
the
movie is just
time-wasting
this is
nature.
gonna be funny. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, you know what? I think. So something about the first act and the third act is that. Actually, wait a second. In the third act, there's more of a direct goal, right? It's just to get
Mhm.
all the Josies, right? So it's all very concrete and like kind of like streamlined. In the second act, like what's really kind of like the end goal, right? Like
Well,
It's just Red's faith or like
It's just-
Red's trust in the team.
Yeah.
right, exactly.
the purpose of the second act is to set up their like the destruction of the team. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's like oh, we got to get the band back together. It's like the setup for that.
I don't know. I feel like maybe something about. I might even.
And it's fucking great.
No, the third act is. No, I think the third act is really great.
No, it's all great. It's fucking. This is one of the best movies
The-
I've seen in a
The
long
first
time.
and second act are like okay to me, and then actually no, wait. The first act is like okay, and then the second and third one are like a little bit. It gets like
all.
slightly stronger every time. I still
I
think
was-
overall it's just an okay movie.
I was just
This
kind of
movie's
bummed
like
out
an
at
8
Act
or
2.
9.
Like, I think Act 2, it kind of injected a little bit too much, like, seriousness.
Oh, I agree. I agree so much.
Like, I wanted to see the Josies more, because, like, in Act 1, anytime there was a scene with the Josie, my brain was, like, 100% power, like, lighting up, because I was trying to figure out which one was which, because, like,
Yeah.
they only showed them for, like, a second in costume. So I would be
I
like,
feel like the second act doesn't feel like it takes that long, so I'm fine with it.
I
Like,
feel like in retrospect it doesn't take that long, but in the middle of it, the second act does kind of
It's just in comparison to the first
drags.
act, it
I don't
feels
think it drags
slower.
I think the first act drags a little bit more than the second one does.
Third act certainly feels the
disagree with that
longest.
too.
I
with
feel
all
like the
long
second
takes.
act.
The third act feels the longest. Like right before we did this, I was still on my job, and it's like, all right, we're still there. Like, it's literally like 30 minutes of like collecting all the Josies.
I think the second act is very, like Protus said, it just gets a little too serious, and then it kind of fights a little bit, because like the Josie is more like, oh, this silly like low budget Sentai stuff, and then there's like the real world, right? But like certain serious things are brought up in the Josie's half, and then like serious stuff is brought up in like, I think a little bit way too serious stuff is brought up in like the real world half. That is kind of like because you got like a real job that you're fighting for, and like all these kind of like stakes with what you're fucking doing, what your dream and whatnot. And here's like this funny kooky thing. This guy is like not even paying you to like do this thing, right? And y'all kind of agree it's kind of a little bit bullshit. Maybe if like there was more of like a stronger reason why they were forced to stay as Josies, I probably would have digged it more.
All right,
That's a good point.
here's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
This movie does not follow the typical setup structure of a clean, this leads into this, leads into this.
Mm-hmm.
This movie feels like a lot like a sketch comedy, where it's like each moment is something different. Like in the second act, there's like the presentation where like this fucking guy is like sweating bullets over trying to do this thing. Like each scene has its own joke that may or may not be at all related to everything else. Like, not to say like breaking the things doesn't have anything to do with this whole movie. It's kind of like, will this thing be funny to appear to happen here, and then just move on to the next thing,
and then just do it anyway and hope that it was.
It's very like Adult Swim-esque, as we were saying.
Sometimes it feels a little bit like kind of like they probably could have done a couple more drafts.
No,
I think it's fine.
Absolutely not.
I think, Cheesy, I think you're like mistaking this as something like this like grand movie. It's trying to be a little piece of shit.
This movie is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, this movie like recognizes
can
that
have
it's
bullshit,
fucking
but still
stupid
have a
as
pretty
hell,
good, like,
and like,
I mean,
oh
actually,
God.
wait, the movie does have like
This
a
movie
decent
is like
story structure. Like the story
fucking-
structure is there, right? Like in retrospect, everything does lead into one another. It's just that kind of like
Yeah, it is there, but it like it swerves you. It like
I think in the smaller
movie's
aspects, it kind of like swerves you. I mean, it's
this movie is like Galaxy like brain.
It
Which
is pretty
like one of
Galaxy
the
Brain.
best movies
it's
I've
so
ever
it's
seen
so
in my
Galaxy
life.
Brain.
Okay.
It's so Galaxy Brain. It turned into a mainstream movie.
All right. Well, I think we need to jump back in.
Yeah, we gotta get
back
to
Okay,
in
so
the-
back to the
Okay.
third act.
Yeah.
So right after
So
they
we're
get
getting to like
right after
blue.
they get yellow, they go after Navy or Cyan.
No, it's blue.
It's
It's
blue.
blue.
They
It's
go to
blue.
blue.
And
Who's
she's
reading
in the
20th
library
century
reading
voice.
20th
I love that she's
yeah.
reading 20th Century Boys.
It's a bookstore,
Yeah,
but
she-
yeah, she's
Oh.
reading 20th Century Boys and has a bunch of the volumes just on the
Just
table.
stacked
There
up.
is one extra in the background that is just watching them the whole time.
Yes.
I could not take my eyes off him. I thought it was the funniest shit ever. He was like legitimately behaving like how a person would act if they saw this happening in a
If
library.
they saw some like cosplay people in a library.
I dig that. I dig that a lot. Like
He just
if it-
stares at them almost the entire
if
time.
you don't come with us, I'm gonna spoil it to you how this book ends.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
very good.
spoil 20th Century Boys for you. We're gonna find out who his friend is.
She
And I
was in,
like
like-
at this point, she's like, okay, so like Blue's like, I gotta find out who this guy's friend is, and then Red's like, we are your friends, and Blue's like, no.
Yeah, she's doing like this corny.
You like.
Right.
Red,
Like she tries to do like a heartfelt like nakama, like we're like your nakama, and then Blue's just like no.
Yeah.
and Red never leaves this thought. Like
Yeah.
the entire
She's
scene, she just keeps
showing
saying
us-
this.
It feels
Yeah.
very Blossom. Like this feels like something Blossom would do.
Yeah,
Like
she's
Powerpuff
the
Girls.
she's the main girl. She's
Yeah.
like I'm the shonen hero.
And the leader for
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And,
dig
and
that.
like
Wait.
Yellow is like, Yellow's tack is, I'm just gonna spoil the fucking this volume of 20th Century Boys for you if you don't come.
Spork,
and then
I have a question. How many volumes of 20th Century Boys are there? Because I noticed she was on 21.
I think there's about that many.
Shit. I've actually never
read. She was probably at the end.
I think there are 21.
I mean,
is that like a plot point?
Sure.
Those don't look
is that like a big spoiler?
Those don't look like.
I don't know. I haven't.
Those don't look like the big tankobons that we got over here. Because I'm looking at my copies of 20th Century Boys right now, and I think hers were like smaller.
No, Jeezy, that's just how Japanese tankobons look. They're just smaller.
We got the regular tankobons over here too. That's how I read it.
Oh, all right. What was I gonna say?
But
and then right after that, unless you guys done with this, or after that they go pick up Red. I mean,
just before that, I just want to say like Yellow's about to spoil. She's like, his friend is, and then Red's like, it's us.
Yeah. Red is just so. She's so like one track mind in the scene. It's really good. This is just a hilarious scene. I love. Also, like, I thought it was bizarre that they didn't just say like, all right, we're just gonna put Blue at her work again, because Blue is like, I guess she's like a manager at a department store. They were like, no, she's reading manga.
I guess they didn't want.
Blue kind of seems like the most like whatever.
I guess
she barely shows up. Like,
she's the bitchiest one.
I guess they already did the whole like, oh, we took her out of her job in the previous one. We kind of want to repeat that, so we tried something different, right? And it works. Like, I like it a lot. Like, the third act is like the best part of this movie.
It's certainly very funny, and I love the gag at the end of the scene where Yellow's like, yeah, haven't you seen the live action movie? And she's like, no, there's one. And then she's like, yeah, and this actor played the main guy. She's like, ew, why would they do that casting? And that just felt like a very real.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
It's just a real scene.
And like what you said earlier, Kazoo, maybe this guy directed that movie.
Wait, did he?
No, he didn't. I looked at his IMDb.
Okay.
He did like Saint Onisan, and then like, what's that one Shonen Jump manga with the psychic?
He did.
Mob Psycho.
No, not Mob Psycho. It's
right
the
before.
Purple. It's the pink-haired psychic in Shonen
Saki.
Jump. Saki. Yeah.
I think right before this movie, he did Hentai Kami or Kami Hentai.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up. There's two of those.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Rape Man.
Let's do that after.
Yeah, let's talk about that later.
Because I don't know anything about these movies.
But, and then right after that, they go visit Green, who established earlier is like in a theater.
Wait.
No. Yeah. You cannot.
Blue does not run, so they get like what the fuck are those called?
A rickshaw. They get in a rickshaw.
A rickshaw, okay.
A rickshaw.
No, that's later. That's after.
No. This is.
This is on the way to Yellow or Green.
Green.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Because there's three of them, and like.
Yeah.
So they just are in a rickshaw for some reason. There's a scene earlier because Blue and not Blue.
In a taxi.
Yeah. Red and Yellow take a taxi, but now they're just like in a rickshaw, and like they have like a fucking blanket on their laps, and like instead of just being all urgent, they wait for the guy to like dismount the thing and like take the blanket off and put the little like step stool.
It's so wonderful.
So fucking good.
I loved this scene. I loved it.
Like, even though they have super strength, they don't have super speed or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they have to, they just have to take regular modes of transportation.
I love that it's not a taxi and it's a fucking rickshaw.
Honestly, it's probably cheaper for them to buy a rickshaw than a taxi.
Because the first one costed, 20 bucks.
I mean, it's a good variety of, I think that's another thing I like about the third act, is the variety of, scenes they put these,
I'm surprised you like the third act the most.
Because I mentioned before, my favorite thing about the movie was their dynamic, and I kind of just wanted more of that, you know?
Yeah, I guess. When I was watching it, I was like, what are they gonna say about this scene? This part of the movie is, literally 30 minutes of not any Sentai action at all. It's just pure character study.
Yeah, because the scene leading up to when Red was gonna fight the main bad guy, I was like,
yeah, we got a real fight scene.
I was like, oh wow, we have why do we have 36 minutes left of this movie? Red just solved the problem of not wanting to go fight, and I was like, oh, no one else is here. She needs to collect them
before
all.
This, Metal Gordon sends out the little guys
Yeah.
with little putties.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to bring this up. Do you guys
And
notice?
then she like uses like her super strength and shit to like actually like defeat like 5 of them.
Yeah. Those guys are great. Like every
the
time we cut away,
breakdancing.
every time we cut away from like the Joshis like getting the guys, they're like doing push-ups, they're breakdancing.
Yeah, they're just
Metal
moving
Gordon
around.
is
Metal Gordon is like sitting
on
is like
one.
Yeah.
sitting on one. Yeah.
I love
I
that.
dig that. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about Green. About them getting green.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about
Okay.
that scene?
One of
Tree B, I love her.
Yeah, one of my biggest laughs of the movie was they show like a bunch of girls, like 2 girls dressed as angels come out in this play, and then there's like these 2 like nearly naked men that are just like wildly gesticulating, like
Yeah.
oh,
They're part of the play. They're gonna be free.
laughing so hard at just how they were moving and like this empty room, like there's just like the
There's
director
like
there.
no plot. It's
She
just,
is so dedicated to what already seems to be an extremely shitty play.
Yes.
What I thought the scene was gonna do was like they're gonna like have their heartfelt speech to Green, and then like the director would be like like stand up and clap and be like, you guys are like great, or like you really showed emotion or something. They do not do that at all.
Yeah, they're like, what the? You're a fucking tree. What the hell?
There's like this scene feels a little bit like played straight. Like actually, like all the like jokes are like played pretty straight with getting back the Josies, each one individually. Because in this case, they like actually just like stop to see her do her tree performance, and she's literally like doesn't move, right?
Yeah.
She like way overplays
yeah.
the act of being a tree, which she just be nothing.
I
I always love like you're like this is a common joke like whenever there's like a play, usually like a school play, it's like I am the bush or something.
Yeah.
I really love that. And it's like the director's like they're like asking the director like if is her role important, and he's like, no, I mean,
the director steals this scene so hard.
This guy's great. We didn't bring it up when we first saw him, but him just saying like, you don't know what a sea comforter sounds like? Wikipedia, bitch.
I kind of dig that the director is like consistently like goofy like character that's there since the beginning all the way through. Right?
Yeah.
Because like the boyfriend is like fucking dropped out of the movie, but the director's still around.
Yeah.
It's this scene, and then like at the end of the scene, like the director finally just says, she's like, nobody can play my tree like I can, right? And then she's like, he's like, yeah, somebody else can.
We can just get like a prop. We can get like a cardboard cutout.
Get like a painting of it.
She gets so upset she quits the
and then she gets so upset that she in the beginning of the scene she's like, I'm this troupe, this acting troupe is relying on me. I'm like holding up this whole troupe.
Yeah.
I need to be here. And at the end she's like, fuck the troupe, I hate you, I'll fucking ruin your troupe.
Stupid
you
bastard,
suck.
I'll
Your
kill
outfit
you.
sucks.
I'll kill you.
Another gag that I really loved here is like when Red is trying to convince her, like Red is trying to play like a good cop bad cop sort of thing. And she's like trying to be nice, be like, hey, yeah, we just need to do this. Every time she nods, there's like bubble popping sound effects.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The little sound effects.
It's like
that,
some
like,
Ren and Stimpy bullshit.
she's like nodding her head. She's like, yeah, you like what's more important, a tree or world peace? And she's like doing a whoop whoop whoop. Like,
it's really funny how much they commit to this joke. Like they do it like several times. I really enjoyed the end of this scene, like the whole director bit. Him just being like, the way he's just acting is so wonderful. It's like he's stunned, but he's also totally truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he kind of wants to see what's going on. Like I feel like, I don't know. Like, it's fucking.
All right, and then right after that
And then we get like okay, so they like all.
The pink guy.
Oh, we get the best. We get the best.
No.
Scene.
Before that.
We get the.
They're on an
scene.
escalator. Like they like are like going to the next place. So they go up an escalator. Everybody else on the escalator is like walking up the escalator, passing them.
Yeah.
But like, even though it seems like they're in a hurry, they just like take the escalator like normally. Even though everybody else walks past them and is like, what are they doing? Because everybody else is in a hurry, but like. It's such a subtle, like, it's such a weird fucking scene.
And then we get the best scene where they're in the bullet train, and they're just like they're just kind of like tired a little bit. They're just laying about, and there's like
It was
Just
not even a
reading a
bullet train. It's just like a
whatever.
regular
But
train.
anyway, they're there, and this one guy just comes over to them, kind of a creeper kind of guy. He's all like, "Hey, like you guys like a Sentai team?
Hey, what's this here?
Where's
Red,
Red,
pink
boy?
this guy.
Where's Pink?
where's Pink?
Where's pink? Like,
Where's Pink?
Redo. Pinko. Pink this guy.
Pink.
Redo.
And it's
Pink.
like
Come
annoying
on,
this
I want to know
guy.
who Pink is.
Blue. Blue. Where's the pink?
He's just such a character.
But-
He's just such a fucking like
He
presence
feels-
in this scene.
And the way they're reacting to it, I feel like they probably get this like typical harassment before, not just like in the outfits, but just feels like some harasser on the train.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
that's
just,
like a
just
real.
fucking-
I would argue that's like a real thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
have you ever had somebody
yeah,
like
yeah.
a stranger that's too friendly to you?
I think that's like the best part of Josie's is like how is the moments where the Sentai thing like conflicts with the real life, right?
Yeah.
I think those are like the best parts of this movie.
It's like, yeah. Pink. Where's pink?
I want to meet Pink.
It's also really funny
There's,
because
there's only 4 of you. Where's number 5? Where's pink? Because, like, obviously they have blue, red, yellow,
you
and
would
green
think
there. Like, where's pink?
it's funny because I didn't even think about that the whole movie of like, oh yeah, if there's a girl, like they always have like a pink one, like oh the girl's always pink, but in the movie there's no pink, and it's
Yeah.
like I didn't even
Pink
my
or
brain didn't
yellow.
even like think about that.
Even if we didn't have navy, she'd rather be beige.
And
So
She'd be
in
like, yeah.
original Sentai, the Yellow Ranger is usually used to be designated to be a guy, right? And it's actually like the stereotype with the yellow is that he's actually the strongest member, and they kind of like reflect that in like the yellow and
Oh.
Josie's doing like construction work at the beginning.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
a tough
That's an
one.
interesting...
Right, so they
That's
do
interesting.
that. Like, because like in Sentai, like, oh, if you're the red, you're the leader, right? So that's why, because if you remember
Red
the beginning,
leader.
she didn't chose to be the leader. It just kind of happened, right? Because she was red.
Yeah,
Because she's the serious one.
she's the serious.
and she was in the center, so...
Yeah, but I feel like Charles kind of made that up. Because everything else was kind of like...
Yeah,
making it up.
he did.
exactly.
Yeah, of
So
course
it was
he
all just-
did.
It was just
He did.
happenstance, right?
Yeah.
Right. So,
He made it all up. It's all
okay,
bullshit.
so now we
Yeah.
get to them trying to convince Cyan, right?
So they know that Navy is being broken up with.
broken up with. Yes.
So they go to a beach where she happens to be, and like, this is a great scene.
This is a great scene.
I love
we
this
pan
guy.
our
She's in
vision
like
out
a full like
see,
romance movie getup.
A
with,
romance
like, a
movie
huge hat and a
getup.
big flowing dress to like get caught
I
in the
love
We
her
pan to the
costume.
left,
I love
and
that.
we see fucking hentai bastard.
Unironically, that is like a hentai bastard.
Like he's
He
off
is-
screen, like she's like pointing, like she's like looking towards the screen, which is like off screen, like crying and like pleading for this guy not to
Please,
break
I
up with
love
her, and
you,
then we see the
baby.
fucking guy.
Yeah. Oh, and he's just like, why do you love me? you know what I am, and he's just constantly slapping his belly while he's speaking.
the biggest gut
Yes.
ever. And like in this fucking t-shirt, it's like
It's wonderful.
oh my
T-shirt
God,
doesn't
it's
fit on
so
him.
fucking good.
And it's just like the Josies are just like, how are you possibly attracted to him? Like the one line that I wrote down is his face is awful.
His face has like a giant.
Yeah, he's
mole.
a-
Did
he's a
they call him
dog.
a gorilla?
They do.
Yeah,
Yes,
do.
they
that's
do.
what
call him
did,
that
yeah.
earlier.
Like this is like Sumire, right? The rich one.
Sumiya, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like earlier she like
Oh yeah, that's right.
like she has like a suitor like in like this rich like expensive like house party.
Yeah.
This guy is like this like rich dude is like, I own an island. Are you still single?
There was
And then her
there was
dad's
that,
like, not even owning an island would be enough to marry my daughter.
There's that fucking pub scene. Remember where the men all come up and she's like, all those guys are fucking ugly. Like,
Oh wait, does she say that?
Yeah,
Yeah, she does.
Oh,
She
okay,
says
cool. Because I was about to say they. Because I was just about to say they don't make a direct reference that she's into ugly guys, but you mentioning that it's like, oh, I guess I missed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like It's like a thing.
Yeah, green or
it's just
no,
like a
Yellow
secret
says
part
to
of her
her-
character that you can pick
Yellow
up
says
on
to her,
or
"You
not."
gotta lower your standards, Sumire. Like, come on."
Yeah, those
yeah,
guys were
I
attractive. I
remember,
mean, come on,
I remember
Sumire.
that. I do remember that actually. Yeah. Oh, it's like they did set it up good. I'm tripping out.
Yeah.
It's actually been a week since I've seen the movie.
I rewatched it
Yeah,
briefly
that's why I
before
wanted
we
to watch it
started.
on the same day that we recorded.
Yeah, same.
God.
Also, this man's name is Kimihiko.
Kimihiko. It's like a princely name.
What was his last name?
They don't say it. It's just Kimihiko.
They do say it.
I
Here,
just,
I'll find it.
I love the
Well, I don't
Kimihiko as his
remember.
name. Made me laugh.
His name. Where did I even have this tab?
Anyway,
Tab hunting.
they finally
They get back to
together.
Metal Gordon.
Yeah, the Metal Gorgon. The sun is almost setting, right?
Yeah, he's like, I waited all
Alright, hold
damn
on.
night. I'm a nice guy, aren't I? I'm a real nice guy.
And they call up their mech, right?
Well, he grows big first,
Oh, yeah,
and he was.
He does grow big. You're right.
They asked Charles like, what the fuck am I supposed to do, Charles? And they're like, oh, you just get the robot. You
Like,
just
we have
say,
a robot.
Josie's robot go. I
Yeah.
love this. This robot is the shittiest looking costume in the whole movie.
It just falls apart when it
It's-
moves.
Yeah, I noticed that too. When he like punches
Yeah.
it, the right shoulder,
When they're
the right shoulder
throwing,
falls off.
the right shoulder falls off.
Oh, I
yeah.
laughed so hard. It was made of like duct tape.
This is
Yeah.
the shittiest part, like the shittiest prop in the movie. All the
Yes.
kaijin look really good. Even if they're like jokey, they do look good. And then the fucking mecha shows up, and it's just the shittiest, like
Well,
obviously
I mean,
cardboard piece of shit.
When you
ever.
think about it, the
It's
whole like
amazing.
Josie operation is kind of like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, they
Josie-
don't have like cool vehicles to get anywhere. They can't warp anywhere but the quarry. Like their suits, I mean, they have like powers, but we never see that.
They,
Like
Yeah, it's like we like
it's a pretty bog standard.
this
Everything is
this
like
is the
green
climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it ends like they shoot out the rocket boobs. Like, because they don't know how to fucking
Hilarious.
pilot their robot.
Yeah.
They press
There's
a
like
button and
three
shoots the rocket
buttons,
boobs.
and like one is rocket boobs.
Yeah, the red one, and then he's like,
You flat-chested
don't
assholes."
shoot rocket boobs at me, you flat-chested bitches." And then they do like a little slap, like a little baby
little
slap
baby
fight.
slap fight.
With the-
And then the
Where
scene just cuts.
And that's it.
It just cuts to like a way later moment. Like, just no care at all in showing this fight scene conclude.
Absolutely no care.
Oh,
It's
Oh,
just-
like they can't, because this robot cannot.
yeah.
It can barely even move. at
Yes.
all.
Could you imagine them like trying to like have a punch connect with the actual suit? Like,
It literally,
Like,
like the
ha-
shoulder
the
literally
arm would
falls
fall
off
off
whenever
if-
they start.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and then
it's
yeah,
so good.
the final gag of the movie is like, oh, flash forward, everything's great. Josies are still together. Then Red goes to fight a kaiju. Oh no, I'm alone again.
right, then it ends.
Mochi za 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 za. Is what
Like, we didn't learn
We
anything.
didn't learn
Literally.
shit. I do like that ending though. I think that's a good ass ending.
Yeah.
It feels like a very appropriate ending.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, this is just gonna continue ad infinitum until they all get sick of it.
Or at least until they start getting paid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hoping that they'd
they
start
still
getting
have
paid.
like very little reason to show up. Like this is like this is like this guy, like, okay, he can grow big, so this guy could like pose a threat to
Destroy
Tokyo.
Tokyo.
And he's like obviously like better than like super strength that Red has. It's like this guy will pose a threat, but even then we haven't learned anything at all.
I think
We-
Red says he's in a
absolutely
different
not.
league. Like, if she punches him, she's like, "Oh, he's in a different league. Like, this guy's
Yeah.
actually a real villain."
Right.
Yeah.
We actually do get like a power scale for him, because she like pretty easily defeats like 5 of the putties.
Uh-huh.
And then he shows up. None of her like super strong punches can even like hurt him at all. And like he's like way stronger than her. It's like, and then he can grow big. So it's like
Yeah.
this guy is clearly a threat.
Uh-huh.
I love how
But even
he's the
then-
nicest
But
of them
he's a
too.
nice
I
guy.
think that's a really
He's a nice guy.
he's a
He
nice
went around,
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't even like really banter. He was still like, come on, like it's dark.
Classic male.
Yeah, whenever
feminist.
they show up and then they're gonna do the intro on the mountain, it's like, please don't do this. Come on.
Come
Just
on,
let's
we
get
got
this
it.
over with, please.
Okay, so now that we're at the end, in retrospect, How do you...
There's a really nice outro credit scene.
Yeah, it's pretty flashy.
Also, we didn't mention the intro.
Oh yeah, the animation.
either.
That was really good. I liked
The
it.
shitty looking animation.
Was it shitty?
I loved it.
Was it shitty? I thought it looked good.
It is shitty,
How is
yeah.
it?
It's like not even animated.
It's not really animated, but it looks rad. If I was in a movie and I was a Jossy, I'd be flattered.
I thought it looked good. I thought
It's okay.
It's like not it's like very like tweened.
Yeah,
Like it's like whenever it's like animated even a little bit, it's like, but it does look cool. It is like striking visually.
It felt very like more so like American comics and manga to me.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's got that like not quite right anime vibe.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm rewatching it right now. You're right. It is pretty.
I'm looking at it right now too.
I'm not. Just for the
I'm
record.
not, yeah.
I think they look. I like their anime counterpart. I think they look really cute.
They are pretty cute.
They look. It looks really low budget
I
though,
wish
which is
this
like
movie...
which is still good.
I mean, it works with the movie, right? Because everything they're fighting is very low budget.
You also get like the each one's pose demonstrated with that one.
Okay, I think having this discussion did kind of make me like the movie a little bit more.
Hell yeah.
Hell
This
yeah.
movie's
But
fucking great. I literally like.
You just gotta...
I still think it's like a just okay movie though.
I think that's what it sets at. It's not...
I don't know
doing
how
something
this movie
grand.
could be better to you.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's because here's.
I don't know what about
here's-
this movie would
okay,
have
let
to
me- 'cause
change.
While talking this with you guys, I mentioned like, oh, I like their dynamic. I like it more when they interact, and then that just made me realize, oh wait, I seen this before. There's actually a parody Sentai series for like older
Mhm.
people called
Hentai.
no, it's called
is
it's
it
called
like,
Kanpai Senshi After V, right? And it's literally like it's the whole show. It's basically after the Sentai team is like done fighting monsters, they all go hang out at a karaoke bar,
Mhm.
right? And that's basically the whole
Sounds great.
the whole show. It's a really fun show, and it's like it actually came out like a couple months before this movie came out too. So
Dang. There's also Akiba Ranger.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up that.
this is very different. I seen Akiba. I seen both seasons. This is very different. It's more Akiba Rangers is like straight up like made by the I think it's Toei, right? Yeah, it's made by Toei.
Saban, I think.
Yeah.
it's made by Toby Fox.
Toby Fox.
It's made by
Toby Fox.
It's made by Toei. It's made by Toei, so they directly reference Super Sentai. Like Super Sentai is a crucial plot point to this. Josie's is a little bit more of a like parody, and mostly of like older Sentai.
I feel like this movie, maybe because it's all women and like, it's just the comedy is just me. Like this is just so it just hits right. It's just hits so
I'm actually
perfectly
really
for
glad
me.
you like this movie, Spork.
This is like it's like so. I don't know. Like this is like a really great movie.
It was fun.
I'm happy that you liked it too. I thought it was fine. Like it was definitely enjoyable. It's one of those things like, so this came out in 2014.
Yep.
Kind of surprised that more people haven't mentioned it because like, even though I'm not like, I'm not really in like the Toku circles, but like I follow enough accounts where I'm surprised I've never heard of this before.
I think this isn't mentioned because a lot of the accounts online, like on Twitter and whatever, who talk about Sentai, care about like the cool action, which this movie does not have.
Yeah, there's absolutely no action.
They care more about like the mainstream stuff, like Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. I follow a couple of guys who post the more obscure stuff, but I only just learned about this movie like last month because I saw a GIF of it and I posted it in our server. And we're all like,
there's like an account that like posts like funny out of context Sentai gifs.
Yeah, that's how I found out about
What
that.
I
mean,
like
also,
but it's like
go on.
there's not much gifable in this movie. I guess there's like the scene where she kicks the can, but that might be like it.
Yeah,
it's more of like a screen cap
boobs
kind of
the boob rockets.
I think
it's a screen cap kind of movie.
I think the reason why enough people don't talk about this movie, like it has like an okay rating if you look at everywhere for this movie. I think the reason why is because this parody has been done better in other things, right? Like I mentioned, Kanpai.
Says
no. Like I seen all these. I seen the Kanpai Senshi. I seen Akiba Rangers. I just saw Josie's, right? And if I were to scale them, I would put Akiba Rangers 1, Kanpai Senshi 2, and Josie's like the third one, right?
Okay, but like you clearly don't even like this movie.
No, I said it's okay.
So I don't think I would agree.
I said it was okay.
I know,
okay,
but I'm saying you don't like it very much. Is that wrong?
Of course I don't like it very much. I put it in the fucking third ranking, but like.
Okay, well,
it seems like
so I was right.
But Spork, what you don't get is that the consensus seems to be that it's just okay, right? And also this.
I mean, you just said you just heard about this movie. I don't think there's any consensus.
No, but think of it like this. I hear people mention Akiba Ranger. Akiba Ranger gets like screenshot. You've probably seen an Akiba Ranger gif. You probably
I definitely have.
But yeah, we just talked about why that.
You probably seen.
I mean,
and another thing is like Kanpai Senshi came out the same year, right? And Kanpai Senshi got 2 seasons. Josie just 1 movie.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to compare like one movie to like full Sentai series.
I'm just saying like Sentai probably is better parodied in a series than in a movie.
Probably.
This is like not. This is like more than a Sentai parody. This is like has like other things in it.
So?
Which it's weird. Like the comedy in this movie and like all the like various non-Sentai scenes in this movie lead me to believe like this is like almost like whatever they thought would be funny, like Sentai or not.
Yeah.
Like the Sentai part's like the third act.
Yeah.
Everything before that is like just a comedy movie, and it's like really good, and I love it.
Okay.
I do have one thing to say, a criticism, if you will.
Oh boy, we don't like those here, Protus.
I thought it was kind of lame that they used the same like joke twice, because they have the beginning cold open has like the joke where one of the girls is like calls in and she's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be there because I'm blah blah blah. They do that joke again, and it's like kind of the same thing where it's just like Red on the phone just being like shh 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 to the monster, and then like I don't know, I was like, okay, I've seen this joke in the movie already.
When does
that's tied to
when does the second one happen?
I think
that's
is that Woodpeckerino when they do that?
It's Woodpeckerino.
Yeah, they do it with. I mean, yeah.
That just goes into the nature of like. There's this kind of like I kind of like that I couldn't tell what was gonna happen next with this movie, but also I feel like even the people making it kind of really didn't know what was gonna happen next either, and I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah, like I said, like this is.
It's very.
They
loose.
came up with this as it was going. It's fucking
right,
great.
and like, I feel like another draft would have hurt, but
if this were like lower budget, this could be on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
I kind of like want someone to. I kind of like the concept of like, oh yeah, everyday women from different like social class are in a Sentai group, and they gotta balance the work life with the Sentai life, right?
I mean,
kind of
truly,
want that as a series. Like I think that would make.
When you think about
that,
it's like when you think about most Sentai stuff, they're typically like normal people to begin with. It's just there's more of a focus on it here.
I think the fact that it was a movie kind of hinders it, and I think a series would have been better. Or a sequel. Actually, I think a sequel would have been nice.
That's crazy.
I think a sequel to Josie.
It's crazy that you didn't like this movie that much, so you'd want to see a whole series.
I liked a lot of that.
Kind of crazy.
I liked a lot of the ideas in this movie. Right.
Cheesy.
I mean, I would love to see more of this.
I feel like with a series, you could explore a lot of the good ideas this movie had.
Yeah.
The thing is, you're assuming that the series would explore it, but like seeing this movie, I think you like realize that this movie is not concerned with like talking about any of those things.
Like not even like because if there was a series, there could be a whole episode.
Like if they could make a joke out of it, it would be brought up. But if it can't be funny, then they would never bring it up.
Like I like you assume by default, like my fan fiction Josie's series is gonna be bad.
No, but. Cheesy, you said like I wish I saw them got paid, but it's like inherently funnier if they don't get paid.
Yeah, like if they could like bring it up later and like have them like make you're like thinking like almost too seriously about this.
But the movie has its moments where it takes itself like seriously. Like I mean, with the whole like her like an actual job and the whole like thing. Like yeah, like that's where it kind of like we mentioned before that kind of like.
Well, that's parody, you know. It's
it kind of hurts itself a little bit too much.
That's the part.
I'm just saying, if it was gonna be serious, it should have been probably paid through with that whole like getting paid aspect.
The getting paid aspect was a joke.
Yeah,
though.
it's clearly meant to be a joke.
And then they went into the Josies and Josies.
But they mentioned like that they have to like leave their jobs, like they're losing money when they do Josies, and they're getting paid.
All right,
like,
I think we gotta move on.
That works. I don't know why you see it doesn't work.
I wish
can't
those
talk about
fictional
this
characters got
too
paid
much
too,
longer.
but I mean, it's clearly meant to be like this fucking sucks.
Don't say that. Oh god. Don't say that.
You're going too long on this. Like the movie just doesn't care about the thing you care about.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's like it's clearly like meant to show that the Josie's organization is like shitty, and that's what's funny about it, is that it's this slapdash thing where it's all like, oh yeah, you'll get paid, just don't fucking worry about it, I'm gonna pay you.
Yeah,
like I think it's funny, but just like I don't know, I kind of want to see that like expanded on. Like can I not say that? Can I not say, oh, I want to see?
I understand what you're saying, but even if this were expanded, I don't think you'd get what you want.
We're gonna pitch Josie's 2. We're gonna go to Jonathan Japan.
I'm gonna go to what's the name of the director again?
Yuichi Fukawa.
I'm gonna learn Japanese.
Oh, by the way,
I'm gonna go into his office and be like, Sir, Josie's had a lot of good ideas. I think we need to expand that into a series. There is a woman vice president, Mr. Japan. I think it's time.
I think they need to be louder, angrier, and basically, if we could get a Bolshevik revolution in there, I think that'd be really fucking great.
And he 100% agrees. Like, yes, I agree. And then I'm like, oh, if we could also add some diversity, and he's like, never mind.
Of course.
Okay, his name is
Yuichi Fukawa.
The guy, the fat guy's name was Kimihiko Domioji.
His name is Johnny Japan. That's his name.
Johnny
I
Japan.
do love Johnny Japan.
Okay, so
it's a pretty good creation.
Okay, so yeah, this movie. Okay, so let it be known. This was okay on my half.
Well, yeah, let's give our ratings.
I give it a good 7.5.
I'm gonna go.
I think I'd give this an 8.
What was your Protus?
I'm like I was really fighting this because like I think I'm gonna say like a 6.5. I don't like giving half ratings, but 6.5.
I'm gonna go by like the Letterboxd numbers because I'm gonna type up my review in Letterboxd right after this. But I'd give it 2.5 stars.
Wow!
Wait, out of what?
5 stars. 5 stars.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
okay.
It's like the second best. Actually, no. Wait, hold on. No, it's not. There's other Toku films.
You said it was the third.
What are
you doing?
No, not in that. No, not in that. I mean, in like my Toku ranking and my Letterboxd, I got like way more like Toku films that I've seen on there. I have Godzilla on there. This is fucking.
You must not like a lot of Toku
movies,
because you seem to not like this one. And this is the second
I don't know
best.
how you could say that when I was gushing about Inframan last time.
Yeah, but you said this is the second best.
Yeah,
movie
you
on
said,
your
and
list.
then you mentioned Godzilla, so it's like Godzilla 1955.
Do you want me to go through my Letterboxd and like tell you the ranking of the Toku?
You don't need to do that, but I'm
No,
just
y'all-
saying,
y'all-
like, you
y'all-
seem to
y'all-
like
y'all-
be
y'all-
like very
y'all-
met on this
why-
movie,
why-
and you said it was the second best Toku movie on your list. That's kind of wild.
No, I take
nuts.
that back. It's not the second best. All right.
It's the first worst.
It's a Swiss miss.
I got Shin Gojira on there. That's like not just good.
Hell yeah.
That's not just good as a Toku film.
Nothing's gonna beat that.
Yeah, that's not just good as a Toku film. That's like better. I have both Kamen Rider movies on there, and those movies were hot garbage. I put them in the bottom.
Wait, both I'm sorry. Is there only 2 Kamen Rider movies?
Yeah, there is.
That's surprising.
They're both ass.
I can't believe that in the hyper-capitalist nation of Japan, there's only 2 Kamen Rider movies.
The TV show. The TV
Because I
show
think
makes more
the
money.
Kamen Riders do cross over in the show.
From the movie.
So I don't think
I don't think
It's like a precure kind of thing.
I think because first of these movies are like kind of grimdark, meant for adults, and so there's no way to really incorporate like the whole selling the toy thing. They just make more money from the show, and these movies are never like mentioned, so I have a weird feeling that they probably weren't like that popular in Japan.
When was the?
There's also like the Skullman, which is like an anime.
Skullman actually like predates Kamen Rider. He was like the prototype Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
When were the movies, Cheesy? I'd like to know.
I'm gonna get them for you, Chief.
Yeah.
All right. So Kamen Rider the First came out in 2005.
Wow.
And then Kamen Rider the Next came out 2007. Kamen Rider the Next is slightly better than the first one, but it's still ass.
I'm so taken aback by like Kamen Rider's been around since the 70s, and it's just like 40 years later we're gonna do a movie.
The shows just make more money. That's basically it. Like they're gonna do what makes more money.
The state of Japanese the Japanese like cinematic industry is strange.
It is a strange beast.
Very bizarre.
I mean, there's probably some worthwhile research to do, but I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, maybe that'll be a movie review.
Okay, so all right, so let's plug our things now. This is the.
Oh, yeah.
We're coming up on 2 hours.
Okay, yeah,
just
plug your stuff, guys.
Oh, go first.
You can find my.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay, you go first.
All right,
I'll go last.
I do a JoJolian podcast. I do a JoJo podcast with my buddy.
Not just that. You do all sorts of podcasts on all sorts of
I
shit.
do a lot of podcasts. I do Hunter x Hunter podcasts.
That's the
pretty
money
much check
maker.
it out. Yeah, the JoJolian one is the moneymaker.
Yeah.
Check out.
You just did a 13 Sentinels one.
We did, yeah. Check out all these you can find on my channel, Joe KKK. That's the real hub for everything. Yeah. Check it out if you're into JoJo, if you're into Hunter x Hunter, mostly manga shit.
You can go ahead.
Or if you want to watch a random draw
You
stream.
can go.
Oh yeah, I do those too.
Yeah, sometimes me and Spork show up in Protus's draw streams.
Yeah, I don't
fun.
show up because I just don't draw.
Cringe.
Cheesy, you may know Cheesy from like not drawing.
Yeah, he's definitely the
That's like
person
what is
here
the
that
most
draws the
popular for.
least.
True that, dog. All right, Sport, plug your stuff.
You did this bit last time.
She has a Twitter.
I know you can speak.
My
Go follow
Twitter
her
is
Twitter.
Sporktown Hero, and it'll be in the description.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I draw
it's on
things.
Screen.
Please look
it's on
at it.
screen right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's
Yeah.
on. Look at that! Wow,
It's in
do you
multiple
see that?
places.
Whoa!
It's
Oh, look at all the
Various-
spark
It
effects.
would be on screen the
Various
whole
sections.
time.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at that! Whoa!
Whoa.
So if you want more of that, click on that link and
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, now your turn, Kazoo.
All right, so I've got a business where I punch people and film it. If you want, just Venmo me $5. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I gave him $5.
only on PayPal. Only on.
One day, my mom told me I have to turn off the Xbox, and I got so mad, so I gave $5 to Kazoo to put her in her place.
And I drove across the entire country to punch Cheesy's mom.
Yeah, she got what she fucking deserved.
Yeah.
She should have
But
fucked with
if you
me.
want other stuff, you know, I do some goodies on Twitter. You're gonna have to dig for them, or eventually I'll post them. But it's just Kazoo Chichi.
Yeah, Kazoo's gonna
You know.
Yeah, follow Kazoo and pressure him to
follow
post his
Kazoo
good
and
art.
cyberbully him to post his art, please.
Oh no!
Please,
Please
like,
don't
Please
cyberbully
dox
me.
him too.
That's I'm
Threaten
just
him.
gonna like
Threaten his life.
I'm gonna do a John Bob right now and just
No.
Don't do that.
No,
All right, so
we're not
so
mentioning
you know
that.
me, Cheesymanfredo. I make a comic, Villainverse. It's on
Me,
Gumroad.
the cheesy.
It's on Tumblr. You can read it for free on Tumblr. You can even buy it on Gumroad.
yeah, you got a sale coming up too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
currently
actually
happening.
do not know when this episode is gonna drop. Hopefully,
Oh, shit.
hopefully my sales still gonna be going on. So if you go on my Twitter, yeah, you can order physical copies of my comics. This has been the second episode of the Unofficial Tokucast. I do not know when the third episode is gonna happen. It's gonna have to be a film we all agree to watch.
I wanna propose.
Did you?
I want to propose live on the stream that we watch fucking Polgazari.
I'll be
Yes,
down.
I like that idea.
I'll be down for Polka. Sorry,
Okay, I don't know what that is.
it's
Sure.
the North Korean kaiju film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been wanting to
All
watch
right,
that.
yeah, we're down. Okay, so unofficial.
Did you name the Inframan one the Unofficial
I'm gonna do
Tokucast?
that right when I upload this too.
Okay. Cool.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's been episode 2 of the Unofficial Tokucast.
I found this movie 4 times as entertaining as Inframan.
I agree.
If you could watch this movie if you buy from our sponsor NordVPN and you get a NordVPN, go to Netflix, switch your destination to
Raid Shadow Legends.
switch your destination to Japan, and then this film is gonna pop up in your Netflix.
Against your will.
Yes.
Wink.
All right, it's been good. All right, that's the
All right.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, you sexy little people.